Rain has a sound that drowns memory. It was that kind of night. The streets shimmered like oil on glass, slick, empty, waiting to forget me. Streetlights blinked in and out like nervous witnesses. I was running barefoot. The ground tore at my feet, gravel cutting lines that would later look like handwriting. Behind me came voices, male, coarse, already drunk on the idea of catching something small. I didn't dare turn around. Fear has a direction, and mine was forward. My breath burned. The night pressed against my skin like wet hands. The city around me didn't care, 1,000 windows staring but never seeing. That's when I saw it. A black car, idling beneath a broken lamp, as if it had been waiting for the end of the world. The body gleamed like ink in the rain, its headlights off, engine humming. It didn't belong here, not in this forgotten block of half-lit motels and dying bars. Something in the way it waited, too calm, too deliberate, made my heart slow instead of race. The door clicked, a soft mechanical whisper, not an invitation, an opening. I didn't think, I moved. My hand gripped the cold metal handle. The door yielded without resistance. I slipped inside. The world outside vanished, swallowed by tinted glass. Leather, polished wood, air conditioning set to winter. The smell of silence, money, and something metallic underneath. Power. I shut the door. The driver didn't turn. Only his voice existed. Low, smooth, unhurried. Close the door. It's closed, I whispered. He didn't respond. Outside, the rain blurred everything human. Inside, everything was still. Too still. My reflection in the window looked older than I remembered. A face the rain couldn't wash clean. And for the first time that night, I wasn't sure if I had escaped anything at all. The car moved without the sound of gears, gliding, predatory. We passed through neighborhoods where lights grew warmer, richer, until the filth of the city faded behind us. The hum of the tires was hypnotic, steady, calm, merciless. I sat rigid, every nerve listening. He didn't speak for a long time. The only motion was the reflection of streetlights sliding across his face, sharp jawline, smooth skin, a composure too quiet for kindness. "Where to?" he asked at last. I looked down at my trembling hands. "Anywhere," I said, "just not back there." He tilted his head slightly, studying me through the mirror. His eyes caught the faintest glow from the dashboard, dark, depthless. "Anywhere," he repeated. "That's not a direction. I don't have one." The car turned left, smooth as thought. "Who were they?" he asked. I didn't answer. My silence filled the space between us like fog. He smiled then, just the corner of his mouth lifting, the kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. "People chase what they think they can break," he said. "The trick is to look unbreakable." I looked out the window. "And what do you chase?" He didn't answer, but I felt it, the shift in air, like a string pulled tight. That's when I noticed his hand, resting on the wheel, elegant, motionless, marked by a black serpent curling around his wrist, inked in precise strokes. I'd seen that symbol once before, printed on envelopes no one dared open, carved into the chest of a man found floating in the river, the mark of the Carano Syndicate. My throat went dry. I turned my gaze to the rain, pretended not to know. But the knowledge pulsed like a secret vein beneath the skin. I hadn't entered safety. I'd entered the mouth of a legend. The city began to dissolve behind us, skyscrapers becoming outlines, traffic turning into echoes. I didn't ask where we were going. He seemed to prefer silence, and silence suited me. Every now and then, the headlights of passing cars painted the interior in flashes, silver, shadow, like a heartbeat trying to remember itself. "You're bleeding," he said suddenly. I looked down. My palms were torn, streaks of crimson tracing my lifelines. I hadn't felt the pain until now. He reached for the glove box, pulled out a folded white handkerchief. Real linen. He handed it to me without looking. "Wrap it." I obeyed. The cloth drank the blood instantly, staining it with something beautiful and wrong. "Thank you," I murmured. He didn't answer, just drove on, eyes fixed ahead. The air inside the car was colder than before. I studied the mirror. His face was calm, but there was a weight behind it, the kind men wear when they've stopped needing permission. His watch caught the light. It wasn't a brand, it was a statement. We crossed a bridge. Below us, the river looked black enough to bury secrets. I spoke, finally. "Do you always pick up strays?" He almost smiled. "Only the ones that walk straight into the trap." My pulse jumped. "So this is a trap?" "No," he said softly, "a coincidence. But those are rarer." He took a turn off the main road. The city lights fell away. Trees replaced buildings. The world went quiet. And then I saw it through the mist. Gates rising from the earth, wrought iron shaped like thorns. A mansion beyond them, huge, half swallowed by shadow and rain. The gates opened on their own. The car slid through. When we stopped, he stepped out first. Opened my door like a gentleman from an old photograph. "Come inside," he said. His tone wasn't a request, it was gravity. The mansion was the color of secrets, black marble, silver veins, windows reflecting only darkness. Inside, everything glowed softly, candlelight under glass, fireplaces that burned without sound. Every surface gleamed. The air smelled like polished wood and danger disguised as perfume. He led me down a long hallway lined with portraits, faces that looked expensive, proud, and slightly dead. The carpet muted every footstep. We reached a study, walls of books, a desk large enough to conduct wars on. He gestured to the chair across from him. I sat. The leather was cold. "You know who I am," he said. I met his gaze. "I think so." "Then you know what I could do to you." "Yes." "Yet you got into my car?" "I didn't have a choice." "There's always a choice." His voice stayed even, but the temperature in the room seemed to drop. "The wrong ones just cost more." He poured himself a drink. The glass was crystal, the liquid amber, dangerous. He didn't offer me any. "What's your name?" he asked. I hesitated. "Does it matter?" He smiled faintly. "Everything matters, especially names." He looked down at a folder on his desk, tapped it once, like punctuation. Then he said my name, perfectly. The sound of it in his mouth froze the air. "I know where you're from," he said, "what you ran from. The orphanage, the foster homes, the last one, the one that burned." My heartbeat went silent in my ears. "How do you—" "I know everything worth knowing," he interrupted. "Your father worked for me, until he didn't." I said nothing. He was good with numbers, better with secrets. But he owed me, and debts don't die with the dead. I looked at him then, really looked. The calm, the wealth, the ruin behind his eyes. "You think I'm here because of him?" I said. He leaned back. "A daughter inherits many things." He underestimated silence. Most men like him do. I stood slowly, walked to the shelves, traced my fingers along the spine of an old book. Dust fell like tiny ghosts. "You think I found your car by accident?" I asked. He looked up, mildly amused. "Didn't you?" "No." That made him pause. "I waited for it," I said. I knew where you'd be, what route you take when you leave the harbor. His expression changed, the kind of stillness that replaces emotion when danger arrives. I turned toward him. My father wasn't your debtor, he was your partner. He hid your money when the feds started circling. He buried it under ghost companies and false names. He rose from his chair, his shadow stretched across the carpet, swallowing mine. "Go on," he said quietly. "When he died, the accounts went dark. You thought he took the codes with him." He stared at me. "Didn't he?" I smiled, slow, deliberate. "He taught them to me." For a long moment, neither of us moved. Only the rain against the glass dared to speak. "You don't understand what you're playing with," he said finally. "I understand exactly," I whispered. "You wanted his debt? You have it. Every cent frozen, every account locked, every ally doubting you by sunrise." His calm cracked, just slightly, a tremor at the corner of his jaw. "You think you've beaten me?" "No," I said. "I've rewritten the game." He stepped closer. The air between us thickened. His cologne, cedar and smoke, felt like an embrace that could kill. "You could have sold this information," he murmured. "You could have run." "I did run," I said, "straight to you." And then I walked past him. The guards outside didn't move. They looked at me the way people look at something that no longer fits in their world. Behind me, I heard him exhale, slow, measured. A king realizing the throne beneath him was already ash. By dawn, the city had turned to glass. Wet streets reflected a sky that couldn't decide if it was morning or memory. I walked without direction. The rain had washed away the blood on my hands, but not the feeling of it. No one stopped me. No one cared. That's the thing about surviving. People only notice when you die. I reached the bridge. The river below moved slow, thick, endless. Somewhere beyond the horizon, a mansion full of locked rooms and furious silence stood waiting for its master to realize how small empires can be. I looked at my reflection in the water. It looked back, steady, unreadable. He would try to rebuild. Men like him always do. But something fundamental had shifted. A seed of ruin planted in a field of power. He'd spend years trying to understand how he lost, never realizing he was never the predator, just the next chapter in someone else's quiet war. I kept walking. The city breathed around me, 1,000 cars, sirens, voices, but I moved through it untouched, unseen. I wasn't running anymore. I was remembering how to move without fear. The rain began again. I didn't hide. Somewhere behind the storm, I could still hear the hum of that black car, the sound of fate pretending to be coincidence. And I understood finally. I hadn't escaped the darkness. I had inherited it. I had become its calm.